Hey there friends and enemies, JoPaWrites here again, and I've got another Remnant 2 video for you guys, this time going over everything you might need for a shock build in Remnant 2. Now, keep in mind there's one major caveat I'll get to a little bit later that I personally don't have, but I will mention. But jumping into it, I really enjoy shock builds in any type of game. Just lightning everywhere is just absolutely hilarious to me. And even though this might not be the most meta, it is a good foundation for you to make insane builds going forward. This one is just for pure fun factor. So jumping right into it, we're starting with the best handgun in the game, the Enigma. A lot of people can waffle on if this is the absolute best or one of the best. Does not matter. You absolutely need this thing. It is hilarious. It is very good. You can find it in the Labyrinth pretty easily, so definitely check out a guide for that. But yeah, this thing is a must-have in any arsenal. I would highly recommend getting it. It is phenomenal. So it fires an electrical stream that jumps to nearby targets within 7.5 meters, dealing 30% reduced damage per jump, applies overloaded. And then Chaos Driver drives electrified rods, which tether to other rods within 10 meters. Tethers last 10 seconds and deal shock damage per second. Targets take shock damage per second and 25% extra damage per rod, and then increases 1.5% if linked to another rod. Rods in the same target will not link. The mod power is only 441, so you get a lot of these as well. So essentially what you want to do is you want to use the ground and walls and separate targets in order to link a bunch of these rods and then just go ham. The damage is crazy. If you've used something like Anarchy and Destiny, that's what this will feel like. It's very familiar and it's very good. It does an insane amount of damage. Highly recommend getting this. It is one of the best handguns in the game, no question about it. Next up, this weapon is not meta, but it is one of the most fun weapons in the game, and that is the Krellax melee weapon. Reminds me of Stormbreaker from Thor in the MCU or the Leviathan axe from God of War, something like that, but it feels really good. It's hilarious. It's infused with Krell shock magic, can be thrown if the wielder has stamina. Axe will magically reappear in the hand. Charge the throw. Charge the throw, the Krellax, which applies overloaded on hit, dealing shock damage, and then shortly after throwing another will appear in the hand. Yeah, so it costs stamina, so you're going to want to either have high stamina or get that refreshed. But it's just fantastic. It's not going to do the most damage unless you specifically build completely around this, build into a melee build. But it's just nice to have and is absolutely so much fun to use. Everyone seems surprised whenever I bust this out all the time. But it's just very good, and I'd highly recommend chasing it down if you don't have it already as well. That one can be found in Nindar's End on Yesha at the Pressure Plate Puzzle. So definitely go get that. Look up a guide on that as well if you don't have one. So then we've got the voltaic rundor mod, which is hilarious. Launches a slow-moving orb that pulses for every 0.5 seconds, striking enemies within 3 meters for shock damage and applying overloaded for 15 seconds. The orb lasts 20 seconds. The orb can be overcharged by striking it with additional damage, aka like you're shooting it or whatever. And yeah, this one is just really ridiculous. You can shoot it into a mob of enemies and just keep shooting it, the giant orb that it sends out, and it just does a bunch of damage, kills a bunch of enemies, and is really funny to watch, honestly. And you can just see enemies taking down. So this is one that, again, even if you aren't running a shock build, would be nice to have in your arsenal for sure. That can be found at the Bloat King boss on Lawsome, so definitely go snag that as well. Then we got Chains of Amplification. This is increase all damage dealt to targets suffering from a status effect by 20%. You're essentially going to be overloading your enemies pretty much all the time, so this is going to come in handy quite a bit. This can be a random drop and awesome. So if you snag this one, this is really good across multiple status effect builds, so definitely go find that one for sure. Then we got Feedback Loop. This is one of the funniest mods in the game, one that I think a lot of people are sleeping on, and I think is absolutely hilarious. So Perfect Dodge triggers a 3-meter AoE blast that deals shock damage and applies overloaded. The nice thing is it does pair with the first ability for the Invader, the Void Cloak, with automatically perfect dodges incoming direct damage. So if you are surrounded by a bunch of enemies, you can pop this, and it will not only give you the decoy from the perfect dodge, but it will also do the shock damage and overload enemies as well. Nice little combination there, and that's really what I like about this build quite a bit. Then we've got the Stone of Malevolence. Sorry, that can be found as a Nehru's random drop, so definitely be on the lookout for that one. Then we've got Stone of Malevolence. Elemental damage generates 15% additional mod power. You are going to be generating elemental damage all the time, so this is absolutely massive. It's a random drop in Losum. And then we've got the Grounding Stone. This increases shock damage by 10% and shock resistance by 15%. And yeah, this is sold at Reggie at Ward 13. Again, that's going to be very nice. I like to throw on something defensive as my last one, like this Encrypted Ring. Use the mod, regenerates 10% of max health for 10 seconds. This is really nice because essentially you're spamming mods pretty often with this, and it combines really well. Now, the one thing I will say about this build in general, and just what I'm personally missing, I have all of the archetypes except for the Archon, and that's really what's holding me back, because obviously the tickle fingers of the Archon ability would be perfect for this build. Unfortunately, I do not have it. I've been trying to get it. I was missing a couple pieces, and so I don't have that as of yet, and I've been absolutely slacking on that. So as I was making this build, I just decided to go with the Engineer instead, and that works out very, very well. It's very nice to have that extra damage from the Engineer pretty consistently, but if you have the Archon, definitely replace the Engineer with the Archon. You can even put the Archon into your primary slot, but the nice thing about that is also going to be the increase, not only the tickle fingers ability, but also the increased damage for mods that you're going to be using. So that's going to come in handy, and I would highly recommend doing that. Like I said, it's one that I wish I had, and it's a little bit of a bummer, but that being said, it's the only thing I'm pretty much missing at this point as far as the archetypes. So I'll definitely get that at some point sooner than later, and I'll make a full build around the Archon in general once I do have that. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel, helps me out tremendously. Shows you want to see more Remnant 2 content. I appreciate all the love and the feedback lately. It's been absolutely amazing. This week is massive. I'm going to just dive into it real quick. So if you're still here, I appreciate you. We've got the Destiny 2 Final Shape and Season 22 reveal. Destiny 2 Season 22. We've got some more Remnant 2 updates. They've been talking about some new patches that are incoming, so hopefully that'll come through this week as well. Then we've got Gamescom, which is happening, and that is going to have a lot of either reveals or games that are coming out in the fall that are getting teased and trailers for and all that kind of stuff. That's going to be awesome. And then at the end of the week, we do have Armored Core 6 as well. So I wanted to go over all of this because so you guys are aware of what is in the pipeline for this week on the channel. And yeah, it's been absolutely amazing, all the support, and I hope that we continue the ball rolling. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, as I mentioned earlier. It means the world to me. My name is JoPa. I hope you have a good one, and I'll catch you all later.